Again. Have I seen what?
It's this Twitter account called Wheelchair Porn Star, and it's this lad in a wheelchair, right? And he basically spends all the benefit that we give him, all the benefit money, on prostitutes.
It's alive! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Welcome to Empire of Geek, and on the show this week we've got mainstays of the show. We've got Andy.
Stalwarts, yeah.
And you're currently having your nuts smashed by a Labrador, aren't you?
I am, yeah. He's a friendly Labrador, though.
Yeah, you enjoy it?
Slightly.
Yeah, just a little bit. And we've also got Raul. Hello, Raul.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you very much. And me, Steve, of course. So what have you been up to this week, chaps? I know just today I've been thinking what a fucking miserable day it's been. It's so oppressive, all the fog. Fog this morning, fog all afternoon, and then I come home and the shitload of fog. It's horrible.
It took 3 hours to get back from Leeds last night because of the fog. Because people were looking at there were accidents on the other side of the highway, and people were rubbernecking.
Yeah,
I bet you rubberneck like.
I wasn't driving.
Crazy.
I wasn't rubbernecking. I was asleep at the time. But
well, you sometimes do that when you are driving. No, that's the problem. No, it's been horrible. I hate it when it's getting dark and it's winter. My ability to be arsed to do anything just drops considerably. Do you not find? I just can't really be asked that much to do.
I was meant to be in Bristol tomorrow, but I can't be asked. So.
What have you not been asked to do, Andy? Ring back any girls? That's your reputation.
I'm well motivated. You know, it doesn't really bother me what time of year. Although, like I say, it is a bit rubbish with the fog. Do you ever see that film where
The Fog?
Yeah. I sometimes think of that when I see fog.
Do you?
I'm gonna drive into it, and then people are just gonna come out and try and kill me. But that's part of my own psychosis, really.
So we had a good week so far. You had a good week the last few weeks since the last show. Raul, you've had a good time, haven't you?
Shit week. On account of a tile stealing off me.
Oh yeah.
I
heard about the message. I was shocked.
I know.
Who sends
just let the listeners at home know. Raul is a landlord, aren't you?
Well, I'm not a landlord.
You're a dirty landlord.
I'm not.
Slum landlord.
Yeah.
I let a room out because
to 18 boat people.
Because I've set this business up and it's not making enough money yet. So I let a room out in my house so I can live, and the ensuite.
You messed it up, didn't you? You had a curry and you blocked the toilet up significantly.
How could that affect the shower?
Well, that must have been a bad shit. Clearly.
Clean up.
You didn't take a dump in the shower, did you? Then do the old mash it down with the heel of your foot.
Well, the ensuite's used by the lodger, not by me.
Well, I wouldn't shit in my own shower, would you?
So, anyway.
Yeah, got knackered, so...
You got knackered, yeah. So I had to replace it, and hired this tiler to do the job. He basically took my money for the materials. I've used him before. He took my money for the materials, didn't show up to do the job, claimed that he had all the materials, and he'd give me the materials but could no longer do the job, but yet wouldn't give me a time or place to meet him to collect the materials. I couldn't confirm that he'd actually bought the materials, and the shop from whom he claimed to have purchased the materials, they didn't know where he was. His telephone number works and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I managed to hunt him down on Facebook so I can get in touch with him.
You just admitted to a federal crime.
Is that a federal crime?
Yes. It's a federal crime.
Can we delete that bit?
No, it's staying in. See, Dash is furious about it.
That's the feds now.
Well, anyway...
I will bleep out what you just said.
Yeah, thank you. So to cut long story short, I managed to get a hold of him, and he, in the end, basically told me to F off and die, and so I wasn't going to get my money back. So I have now filed a complaint with the small claims court, and I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah, yes, well, he deserves. He's an arsehole.
How long will that
isn't
take, though, through small claims?
I don't know.
What a bastard.
Yeah, so...
No, he's bang out of order, that is.
How much did it take off?
450 quid.
There's a lesson to be learned about not paying up front for stuff, isn't there?
Well, for the materials, I thought the materials were fine. But the thing
No one ever does that, though.
You should have just gone out and bought them yourself.
Yeah, well, he claimed he was giving me a good deal, and to be fair, the company, actually I'll give them a shout out because they were really good. They're called wallsandfloors.co.uk, and they actually, upon hearing what had happened, they let me have the tiles at a much reduced price. So, you know, they really helped me out because I wouldn't be able to afford to have done it otherwise.
Oh, well, big up the old walls and
Walls
floors.
and floors, yeah, really good of them.
Do you know where this guy lives?
I do know where this guy lives. I managed to find his address from the bit where Steve's going to bleep out. I managed to find his address, and there was a development on that front, but I don't really want to talk about it on the podcast because.
Can we not say off the record?
I could always beep out the fact that one of Rob's friends went round and so I could, you know, that's all been bleeped out
off
now.
The record.
Off the record.
What happened?
Well, one of my friends who's basically massive and a former debt collector went round his house and said, "You owe my mate Raul £450."
To which point he went, who the hell's Raul?
And the bloke was like, "Yeah."
Does the Tyler listen to the podcast?
I don't know. Basically, well, I mean, obviously the Tyler will realise, because I can't imagine there being many Tylers who've had their I should say, by a big bloke. He went round there and basically said, "You owe my mate money," and he was told to F off. And so this big, large, massive debt collecting friend of mine sat the guy down, grabbed one of each for £50. I'll come back tomorrow for the rest of the money.
Fucking hell, who do you know?
Well, this is, yeah, well...
Your friend is going, as I said to you at the time, he's going to go to jail for that. You can't
Cross Rob. We're stop getting edited. This is all off the record section.
I've still got to edit it, though.
He's still got to do the work.
Well, this whole section has to be cut out, doesn't it? Because it's talking about going round.
Yeah, so anyway,
So carry on.
I'm leaving it in, but I'm just going to beep it.
He went back.
People love the old beeps.
He went back the next day to collect the rest of the money that I was owed, and this Tyler just vanished, as you would do.
Sold his house, moved abroad.
Just like disappeared, gone. Just wasn't there. So, you know, no idea what's happening.
Who the hell do you know who's a badass like that?
Well, I think I've talked about him before. He's a palliative care nurse. He deals with people who have end-stage
That's not part of
cancer.
a Hippocratic oath, is
He
it?
finishes people off.
No, he doesn't kill them off. No, he doesn't believe in euthanasia. No, he's a nurse.
Is his second name Shipman?
No. The one he's actually quite a caring, considerate bloke. He's got very.
He's not really, though.
He's got a very strong sense of. We always used to nickname him Batman. He's got a very strong sense of right and wrong. And if you cheat somebody, you've got to pay. That's his attitude. So
I don't remember the Batman comic book where, you know, Alfred's having a conservatory built and they rip him off over the tiles on it and Batman goes and smashes the faces in or something. It's a bit of an over exaggeration, overreaction.
So what's the situation now then? Is the bathroom still knackered?
I've managed to find somebody who is being able to assist, but I'm paying obviously through the nose for it because of the short notice and all that.
How much is that going to cost then?
What, to get the whole thing?
Yeah.
So 500 quid.
Well, including tiles?
No, I had to pay for the tiles myself. That's just all the labour.
Jeez Louise, that's a shit week, isn't
Why
it?
not just tile it yourself? Get a cutter and do it yourself.
Have you ever seen any of Rob's practical work?
My Raul's DIY skills
Sorry.
are awful. And all
Did my kitchen.
joking apart, I did actually think about doing that, but by the time I bought the cutter, bought all the adhesive, and worked out what my fail rate would be, because I'll probably knacker a few tiles, it would have been quite a lot. That 500 quid is everything, though. I mean, that's all the tiling. That was plastering the walls. That was that's fitting all the.
Is it done yet then?
No.
So your lodge is stuck without a shower?
Yeah, I've given her my bathroom. I've given it a deep clean.
I bet you're giving yourself a deep clean as well.
she's. I've had a wash today. Actually, I've got to go to the office later and have a wash.
Why can't you wash in your own house?
Well, I've given her.
Do you have a shower at your office, or you just go in there and use like wet wipes and give yourself a once over?
No, there is a shower. There is a shower on the ground floor.
Can't you just use the same shower as her?
Well, it's not a shower; it's a bath.
the same
Why
bath as
can't
her.
you use that?
You are allowed to clean baths.
I probably could, but I just felt bad that
Have you cut some slack in rent then?
Sorry?
Have you cut some slack in rent?
Well, I'm going to have to let her have it rent free, aren't I?
Really?
Well, it's only fair. I mean, she's paying for an ensuite. She hasn't got an ensuite.
Well, I mean,
therefore, I have to give it to her for free. It's only fair.
I thought I'd knock some money off or something, but...
Oh, that's very, very fair. Maybe a little bit too fair, but all credit to you.
Thing is, it goes back to what I'm saying. You don't cheat people. If you do a deal, you stick to that deal. I can't deliver on that deal. Therefore, she shouldn't be expected to pay for it.
So you've got to go to the office to wash.
Yeah.
Do you take a shit at home?
I've got 2 toilets, so yeah, I can have a crap at home.
I can only imagine the pain. Imagine if you only had one and she had to go and have a bath after you took a dump, half an hour before. She'd get fucking blind, wouldn't she, the poor girl?
I think I go blind. Why do you think I wear glasses?
Well, I've been... The game that we spoke about a few episodes ago, Ingress, me and Raul went ingressing after one show, and my word, you broke wind, and I've never heard anyone break wind for so long. It just went on, and the different tones of your fucking arse band.
I've often thought that if I were to sample, the resonance of my farts, I could make...
I think I got a fucking sample. I could almost taste it. It was fucking horrible.
I could make a drum and bass track.
It was
With
horrific.
dubstep.
And on the subject as well of Ingress, we're meeting for listeners. So this game we've been playing, we spoke about it about 2 or 3
I'm
podcasts
still
ago.
level 5 and I haven't had time to level up yet.
Where
It's
like geocaching, but you get these bases. I've been invited by our main enemy, a guy you hated, to go for a drink.
Well, I don't hate him. It just got really annoying that he kept taking our portals. So we'd go up to... We would drive, the 10 miles to his area to smash his portals in.
It's not 10 miles.
Smash his
ladies and gents.
portals in.
It is about 10 miles.
It's not 10 miles to Waddington.
Not as the crow flies, but as the robes do this wiggle thing.
Who talks?
It is not 10 miles. I've actually walked from Lincoln to Waddington and back to hiking
Waddington's
before.
just over there.
It's only about... If you walk from...
Up Harmston Hill.
Not up Harmston, because that's Harmston way.
Hill, surprisingly enough.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't go Harmston way. That'd be insane.
Oh, that's fine.
Anyway, this is going to not mean anything. Andy, you had a good time since the last podcast. What have you been up to? You snaky bastard.
Nothing. I've just been chilling.
Snaking.
I've not been snaking.
We've had reports from ladies though about you. You are quite snaky. That's what they say.
Ladies,
Who said that?
He's been getting drunk and then messaging ladies, arranging dates, and then doing.
Keep this off the record. Is this true? Is this true? Can you tell
Yes. And then what he does is...
Why did you tell him? Because surely the only way he would know is if you told him.
I tell Steve everything.
Yeah, so
and then I tell our mutual barber, who then tells...
Who's the mutual barber?
Luigi.
Who's Luigi?
He's in Lincoln.
Will he actually do a better haircut than the crap haircut I had last week, which is subsequently grown out?
Yeah, and the thing is about
How
Luigi
fast
is...
your hair grow?
Luigi will cut your hair. It takes him about a minute to give you a haircut. He's so fast.
Where is Luigi based?
Well, to say after the show.
Oh, you know what's coming soon as well? Christmas. Which
he
means
expects a tip,
they all
doesn't he?
hint.
Hey, some of my customers, they give me like £20 bonus.
Do they?
And you're like, oh, for fuck's
Well, he said to me the other time I went in, he said to me, he says, hey, how old's your son now? I went, 6 months old. He went, got a good head of hair? And I went, he's doing okay. And he went, you'll bring him in soon. He says, I give you a special discount for child. I went, what's the discount? He went, £9.
£1 off.
I pay £10. And what he also does is, when you go in there, it's this barber shop is a 1-room barber shop. And there's no doors out of it, and he's not there. And he'll always turn up. Like last time he turned up and he went, hey, sorry mate, you waiting long? I've been in the back giving it to some woman who lives behind.
How do you know this Luigi?
Because where I used to live, he lives at the top of it. You know my old house?
Oh, right, okay.
Luigi's barber's at the top of that. And then what he also does then, he says to me, he goes, hey, you heard anything about that fucking bastard? That guy who owns... There's the guy,
Fucking hell, mate.
the guy who owns the fast food restaurant next door to him.
Oh, I know the one.
They have a shared chimney, and basically they were going to split the cost. And Luigi paid it, and then the guy wouldn't give it back to him. So Luigi hates him, and Luigi, every time I go in there, says to me, you want to kill him, mate? I tell you where he lives. He lives up behind the... And he tells me where he lives. He goes, You'll know it by his car. He got this particular car.
He tries to solicit for murder.
He says, "You go up there one night, mate. You'll burn him out."
Well, I know a dude. Obviously,
well, Rob's got underworld connections, hasn't he?
You clearly see things in black and white, so...
Well, I've said to him a few times, I said, I'm not being funny, Luigi, I says, I don't necessarily feel that I look like an assassin, but I'm not an assassin at all. He keeps wanting to hire me to go and kill that.
The thing is, he has to be quite careful, because if this fella, one day, happens to have his, clogs popped, or whatever the term is, and he's no longer with us...
Mr. Singh, his name is, listeners. Mr. Singh.
Mr. Singh. Luigi
Mr. Singh.
Singh.
No.
that would be Italian.
Well, I wasn't sure if your accent, the accent you were doing. I wasn't sure if the accent you were doing was Italian.
Luigi's the barber. Yeah. Mr. Singh is the businessman who owns all these properties.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if your accent was casually racist, like you were trying to be like...
I've not even done Mr. Singh's accent yet.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to try and do my Mr. Singh accent.
The thing is, if I try and do, like... It's like when I try and do a Welsh accent, I sound like a gay Indian, even though I am Welsh.
And gay.
Yeah.
So gay,
no. It's accents are hard. So Luigi, right? Where would we go? You tell Luigi everything that Andy tells you.
Yeah,
and then Luigi feeds it back.
And then Andy walks in, and then Luigi will go, "Eh," and there'll be all blokes in there, and he'll go, "Hey, you guys, listen to this poor bastard."
Talk about my fucking life.
So what's the latest then? What debauchery have you been up to?
I haven't done anything.
I've been telling Luigi everything about him.
Well, tell me.
I haven't done anything.
Tell our listeners. What's he done?
No,
he gets drunk,
yeah. Messages girls and arranges dates with them, and then he does the old, "I've not." You know on WhatsApp where a message pops up, and then if you don't, you can see what it is, but you don't read it. It looks like you've not been online.
Yes.
He does the old special of, "I've not been on my phone," when we all know he is constantly on his fucking phone.
Oh, so it's you.
Yeah, but I'm a software engineer and I run a business off it.
You're always playing Worms on your phone.
I've got Worms installed because I had to, buy a rubbish phone, so I lost lost the screen on my decent phone. So I had to buy a rubbish phone. This phone has only got 8 gigabytes of storage, so I haven't been able to install any games on it because
8 gigabytes is quite a bit for storage.
8 gigabytes is not enough, not anymore. So all my work-related apps are on there. None of the games. So no Ingress, no Worms. I need to get a better phone because I need to get back on the Ingress. I need to level up. I'm still level 5. And it's depressing me. Anyway, these girls, right, so he pretends he's not been online.
I was say, I love it on Ingress when you message me and say, "Some bastard stuck up holes. I can't stand it anymore. I want to get him. I want to make him feel the way he makes me feel."
And then you do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not real, is it?
Well, then he arranges these and he does
anyway, let's move on.
The old frosty reception, which is like nothing, and then like, what would you say? I think you just ignore them, don't you?
No,
I don't.
Which you do. Should we get on with the show then, anyway?
Yes, let's.
Anyway.
That's not bad. He's just a bit of a misogynist, that's all.
That's not misogyny. Jesus Christ.
Right, back onto geeky stuff rather than our own lives. We spent 17 minutes talking about your fucking bathroom and the fact that Andy is an absolute cad.
Yes.
Okay.
A misogynist.
You're a bounder, you are.
A cad and a bounder. Right, I want to talk about, first of all, last weekend... not the one that's just gone, the one before that. It was my birthday, and I went to Nottingham Comic Con, and it was fucking ace because it was all about the comics, which is I always like a con which is about the comics, where it's not all about all the people. There were people dressed up.
Paraphernalia.
Yeah, they had some some things you could buy action figures, and I like a bit of that. I just don't like it where the problem is when you go to some conventions and you got a lot of the film and TV stuff, it's all about them. And not about the actual comic books. I've been to some conventions, comic book conventions, and there had been like 2 or 3 actual comic book stalls. This had loads of them, and while we were there, I met Vincent Chunt, who does the Red Mask on Mars. And we reviewed a little preview comic that he put on the internet, and I actually bought the first 2. Did I buy all 3? I bought all of the Red Mask on Mars that are out at the moment.
Cool.
A collector's one. Met the guy.
Did he sign them for you?
I don't think he did he? I have to check him.
It's an opportunity then.
Got a photo of him.
Oh, that's alright.
If you go on the Empire Geek Twitter, you can see a picture of old Chunster there. Really nice guy. I said to him, I went up there and I thought, obviously we've tweeted each other, never actually spoke to him, and it's hard to know how to start a conversation. So
you can say, "Oh, you've been Vincent Chunt. How you doing, man?"
Well, you might think I'm being a dick if I do that.
Well,
So
you probably will do, but you know.
I just said to him. So I went. Oh, I'm sorry about. Because he asked me about his comic book, something, and I went to him. I says, "Oh, sorry about getting your name wrong." I said, "I'm Steve from the Empire of Geek," and it's like that. And he went, "Oh yeah, man, I like that." And we had a little chat. And he's a bloody nice bloke. What's that?
Are you from Liverpool?
Who?
Vincent Chunt.
No, I don't know where he's from.
All right.
He didn't go, "Yeah, right then, Steve, like how you doing?" And he stole my trainers.
You look like you're about to branch, do your Liverpool accent, that's why.
No, he was just a nice chap.
Good.
All round nice chap, and it was nice to meet him. And I saw a few other cartoonist people who we spoke about, their comic books, on the show, and I met a bunch of other new ones who we're going to be reviewing their comics over the next few shows. We got one that I'm going to do today. So we met him, he was cool. Also, over the last few weeks, I've been catching up on Jekyll and Hyde, the ITV series.
Yes.
You seen that?
Both two episodes run so far, haven't they?
I think they're really good.
I think they're really good as well. I thought the second episode wasn't as scary as the first, though.
Well, they've shown you a lot of the monsters, haven't you? That thing which was the harbinger or some harbinger.
That kind of like that
dog-headed
dog
thing. Yeah, that was something really creepy about that. But I've really enjoyed it so far, and it's loads better than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
And there's a rich world that they've introduced us to, haven't they? Within it.
Yeah, I mean the fact they've expanded and upon. I mean, without spoiling it too much, there's a whole like military intelligence organisation to destroy
MIO or something.
MI, military intelligence, other set that are set to keep all the monsters and all the ghouls away from us. And so there are more things, more creatures, more monsters here. And I'd be interested to see if Hyde ends up fighting everybody.
Yeah, what I liked about it best of all is in the first opening scenes of the first episode, Hyde, Jekyll, the son of the original Dr. Jekyll.
Yes.
He's working in India with. He thinks it's his adopted father, this Indian doctor.
Yeah.
And it's his first day on the job, and this lorry comes crashing through the wall of the.
And the superhuman strength.
And this girl gets trapped under it, who's just been treated. So he picks it up with his superhuman strength, and then this is the best bit. She's kind of starting to kind of come around and try and get free from the lorry, and then you see the glimpse of the Hyde who starts standing on her throat, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's almost as if he's overheating, and if he overheats, he becomes this evil monster. Whereas if he dulls it down a little bit, he can have the benefit of all the power and the strength.
Yeah.
But it's like he's on the edge. He has to keep it in check.
There's a little smirk coming on as well.
Yeah, he has to keep it in check because he might end up. The dark side might take over, and then he will, rather than save the girl, he decides to kill the girl. That kind of thing.
Yeah, so he's just about to start crushing her throat, and then they kind of snap him out of it, and he lets it go. But I like that. I like the fact that he isn't like I've got control of it. I'm going to be a goody good guy.
Yeah.
When I was watching the first episode, I thought he's very much like any teenage boy. This kind of anger and like kind of unreasonableness, like. When he's just about to leave his adoptive parents.
I thought that was a bit far-fetched. I thought he was a little bit over the top then, considering he's meant to be a qualified doctor in his...
And he loves that family, doesn't he?
That's right, he loves them completely. I thought it was a little bit...
And he finds out that they know more about his father. He was led to believe they knew nothing.
Maybe that was the whole Hyde thing coming forth, because it was a shock to his system, so he became irrational and unreasonable.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I like the bit in the first one where... Is it the first or second one where he gets to see the girl he likes, and then there's that old woman who she gets called away by, and he's like, no woman, and his face kind of goes all veiny and red.
He's trying to get his end away, and she's ruining his chances.
But yeah, I really like Jekyll and Hyde, and I'd suggest if you've not watched it yet, listeners, go and listen to it, because it's really good.
Yeah, because we want to talk about it, so if you watch it, it means we're not going to spoil it for you.
Yes. The other thing is, have you been watching The Walking Dead?
No.
Right, now, an episode will be out now, but last episode it looked like, a bit of a spoiler, that Glenn had died. The little Chinese dude who's been in it from the beginning. Now, if you know the comic books, he does die in the comic books, but through another means. And so, if any of you listeners, I've not seen the episode that's out now, but he ain't dead. He ain't fucking dead. He was basically stood on this big kind of trash kind of cart type thing, like a big bin type thing, a big skip type bin thing. Another guy surrounded by zombies. The other guy shot himself in the head and then fell off and grabbed kind of Glenn, and then finished with all the zombies coming around and Glenn's face there and all his guts being pulled out. And obviously you were led to believe that they killed them both, but Glenn is not dead. So I don't know if it will be mentioned in tonight's episode. If they're clever, they won't even mention Glenn, and leave it open for another week.
Is Glenn just like a tough little unit then?
Glenn has been in it from the beginning. He's one of the popular characters. He's a dude. He ain't dead though, because I've seen some photos from later episodes with another character's not in it yet, and Glenn's in those photos. A bit like Jon Snow in and again this is a spoiler.
Don't spoil this.
Well, do you want me to say it? Do you not want to know?
That it becomes a weird thingy. What's it?
There's some photos that have been released online this week, and it shows Kit Harington on the set of Game of Thrones in this snowy landscape, and he's wearing Stark armour from the looks of it. He ain't dressed as a Man of the Night's Watch anymore.
Oh.
So, you know what I think it is? I think it's obvious. It says you're a Man of the Night's Watch until you die.
Yeah.
He has now died. He'll be brought back through some means, maybe from the Lady Melisandre who's come back. And because he's died, he's paid his debt to the Night's Watch.
Right, so
could go
free.
back, possibly, to go and kick the shit out of the Boltons.
Thing is, he is such an amazing character that, killing him off would almost
Ruin
the whole thing.
Well, they built up so much about the will they, won't they, we're never going to find out.
Yeah.
It'd be a poor choice. So it looks like he's going to become maybe Jon Stark and go back and claim, Winterfell or something.
Yeah.
But he's not he's not dressed as a member of the Night's Watch. I don't mean maybe he's on the run and nicked some armour from someone else, but it looks like he's dressed like a Stark.
Yeah, there's no way he survived. In fact, they burnt him, didn't they?
We don't know, because the end of it finished with the blood pouring out and him just staring up.
Yeah.
But who knows? They may burn him and then he might come out in the flames a bit like Daenerys did in the first one.
Because of the whole... 'cause he's got some...
Azor Ahai. That's who he might be.
Yeah.
The chosen one, perhaps. So there's some of the things which I've been talking about this week, which brings us on to the first main story today. I don't know if you've heard about this. The Professor of Lego. Now, this story's been in the newspapers today because a young girl actually applied for this job, a girl of about, I think, 7 or something.
Right.
And it's not been advertised yet, the job, but she sent an application in because she loves Lego and loves building stuff. But apparently, Cambridge University are going to offer up a new role, which is going to be the Professor of Lego, the toy.
And this is Cambridge University.
Cambridge University,
University of Cambridge.
The University of...
As in the red brick of all red bricks.
Yeah. One of the, Cambridge and Oxford, the big unis.
Yeah, the up there in the top, top 10 of the world.
Yeah, when you think about universities, Cambridge is always one of the ones. You could become a professor of Lego. Now, this has all come about because a group who call themselves the Lego Foundation, who own 25% of the Danish-based toy company Lego, they've given a cartload of money. They've given, I think it's 4 million over a number of years, or they're going to give them to Cambridge, and they're going to develop a new role which is going to be a professor to do with play, about understanding how children play and the method they do. So it's not necessarily going to be called Professor of Lego.
Effectively, they've just funded a PhD with a ton of money.
Yes.
Why is this news?
Well, the fact that there's the idea that you could be a professor of Lego.
Yeah, but this is just marketing the spiel. Effectively, what these Lego people do, like the British Heart Foundation, for example, will stump up millions to fund PhDs in looking into heart disease. These Lego dudes have stumped up a load of money to fund somebody to look at play and how you make children's lives better through play.
So is it worthwhile then?
Oh, I think it is worthwhile, but
because you normally sniff at anything which doesn't fit within your own tiny little twisted view.
I think it is worthwhile. I'm going to ignore that. I think it is worthwhile. Calling it Professor of Lego is just marketing.
I'd fucking love that, Professor of Lego. I'd have a Lego crown.
But it's Cambridge. It's Professor of Lego. It is just purely
King Lego.
Purely because they'll get a lot of PR, and obviously Lego will get a lot of PR out of it. And they'll probably see their stocks go up or something because of it. I don't know, but as a general rule, I think there's nothing wrong with a private company wishing to fund a PhD into whatever they want.
Did you, as a child, ever suffer a chinny Lego?
A chinny Lego when you fell over and got bricks in your face.
When you tread
No, did that happen to you a lot?
Well,
you ever put Lego bricks inside a family member's bed as a form of revenge? Because Lego is quite effective if you're going to hurt another child.
Yeah.
If they don't look in the bed.
It's got hard edges, yeah.
A chinny Lego actually has nothing to do with Lego. A chinny Lego is where you would sneak up behind someone. Normally, it could be done from any angle. And then you stick your chin normally into the little kind of gap next to the base of the neck, where basically you got your clavicle going across there.
Yeah.
You stick your chin as hard as you can in there until they shout Lego, and that's a chinny Lego. You never done that?
Never heard of that. It must have, obviously I grew up in a better part of the world, so...
You urinated on someone in a tent, so...
Yeah.
Have I shared that story on the podcast yet?
I think you might have done. You told us that you might hit you with a...
Yeah.
I'll edit it. So who had the better childhood? Me, the happy child who learned a new
Hey, I'm not
technique.
disputing you probably had a better childhood. I'm simply saying I grew up in a better part of the world, that's all.
Well, Wales
Really?
won it.
Yeah.
It's a shithole.
Wales is not a shithole.
It's a shithole. You were conquered people.
Yeah.
Not even a real country. Back in
We
Principality.
weren't actually conquered.
You were conquered.
Not really.
And you were tricked as well. We will never... What was it? We will never ever follow anyone who speaks English. So you crown a baby who can't speak anything yet as the Prince of Wales, and they all fall. You were defeated. You were so roundly beaten, and you still hate it now. Go back to the valleys and tell them that. Now make my shoes.
Rugby World Cup.
Did they win the Rugby World Cup?
No, but we
Oh no, they didn't. Anyway,
But we beat the English. That's all that matters.
when was last time that Wales won the whole World Cup thing? You're a big fan. You don't know, do you? You don't know.
When was the last time?
How many times have Wales won the Rugby World Cup?
Oh, none.
Oh, right.
England
won it.
I'm just thinking
I
of
think they have
young
actually.
young Jonathan
Well,
Wilkinson
that's one more time.
kicking that ball, the last minute thing over the crossbar. Yeah, so
Crossbar.
1-0.
The Six Nations, we've won more than any other nation.
You mean the Six Nations no one really cares about?
Yeah.
Everyone cares about the Six
It's
Nations.
every year though. It's
The Six
Yeah,
Nations
but-
have been going far longer than the World Cup.
Why
as
do
well.
Welsh football teams play in the English league? You know,
Well, I don't know. You have to ask them. Football's a game for
because
girls.
You're a
because the
conquered
English
foe.
league's obviously the more
Football's
elite.
not really a sport.
Is
But
it not
it's
really?
non-contact. Yeah, that's not a sport unless you
Look at
get
Mr.
to,
Hard over there.
unless you get to beat someone up. There's no point in doing it.
How did people be beaten up in a
Yeah.
sport?
Well, none. But I'm just saying.
I've seen you have a small person throwing punches at you, and you're holding up a pad for them to punch, and then you walked along a wall to get away from them and fell over, got stuck in a fucking tractor tyre. Mr. Contact Sport.
They weren't small. It was the guy in question was 6'7".
No one there was 6'7". You cannot help but add things on, can't you?
No, it was 6'7", and had like steel hands. He was like an X-Man or something.
Oh, good old Steel Hands Jones, the 6'7" monster.
Yeah, and he's like smacking the shit out of my
You're
pants.
hardly small yourself. So.
Well, no, I'm not small, but the fact is, this dude was bigger. Self-preservation dictated that I go and hide. I didn't fall in the tyre.
It might have been a girl who was
I
throwing the
didn't
punches.
fall in the tyre. I chose to hide in it.
Well, there we go. That's brave. I didn't trip. I was just hiding because I'm a coward.
I was hiding in a tractor tyre. Yeah, that's what happened.
Next story we're going to talk about is: have you seen the film The Conjuring? I know you went, Andy, because you get scared shitless of horror films. You fainted watching Saw.
That was because of the temperature in the house. It was. It was hot. It was.
It's too hot. I fainted.
It was too hot.
What, you fainted in a horror film?
No, I didn't. I was watching Saw, and it was a really hot day.
With his friends.
And the heating was on. And I went to go to the toilet.
It was a hot day.
And he passed out.
I hit the radiator.
Why you hit the radiator?
Well, it had one of those clothes hangers that was hanging off it. And I hit that and dragged everything off it. And then put it up on the floor.
Why did you
I've only
pass out?
passed that twice in my life. The other time was on a school trip to the medicine museum where I smashed my head on a glass cannon.
Why did you pass out there?
Don't know, it's just walking. I'd seen all the, because they had some bits where they were sawing people's legs off. But I'd seen all that, and I was just walking through this boring bit with all these bottles, and then I just remembered, waking up on the floor and everyone, telling me, fucking hell, you're going to get us in trouble. Thinking I'd done it deliberately. Really.
He's such a card, that Andy.
Was it like delayed fear?
I don't get scared, Rob.
What about when Daddy Longlegs are flying around?
That's
Or
not
insects.
fear. That was just I thought. Oh,
You were hiding. You hid in your hoodie, as I recall.
No, because I just don't like them like on my face.
Such a whim.
What, you like things crawling on your face?
Where are you going with
For
this?
your joke.
Anyway, so the film called The Conjuring came out a little while ago, a few years ago now actually, and it supposedly tells the story of this house that was haunted and these two investigators who went to find out what was going on there. And so that's what the film's about. Well, the people who actually own the house on which it's based are suing Warner Brothers now, because at the end of the film there's some kind of message about that this took place in a real place.
Oh, right.
And so people have gone on to Google, and if you look, I won't say it out loud, but it took me like 5 seconds to find the actual address of the house it's based on. And so since this film came out have I said on there when it came out? Well, since this film came out, they've been hounded constantly by people who have tracked down their house, going there to have a look around. They've got signs up saying, private property, keep off, but they find people trying to do weird kind of satanic rituals in the garden, people just wandering in. Like 3 a.m. in the morning, there's a big bunch of people stood outside the house, looking at it, taking photos of it. And they've decided they're going to sue Warner Brothers for causing
Rather than
this.
suing them, why not sue the Warner Brothers? Will you buy my house?
Well, what they want to do is they want Warner Brothers, they want to sue them for an undisclosed amount of money, and they also want them to pay for some kind of special security for the house. They believe that Warner Brothers owes them that for causing them all this shit.
No, just move. Move. Send Warner Brothers, look, you want the house for your films, do it, but get me a nicer house.
So the owners of it are Norma Sutcliffe and Jerry Helfrich. So they're the ones who are complaining at the moment. Would you, if your house was mentioned in a horror film, people started turning up, would you... The actual house wasn't actually in the film. It was just a mention of it that brought people to it.
Oh, well, I understand why they're aggrieved, because they've got these randoms showing up at their house as a direct result of, was it Warner Brothers?
Yes,
Yeah.
Harrisville, Rhode Island is the location of it. I won't give you the address of it.
But they actually singled out this particular house.
This house does have a real history to it. Supposedly, it was bought because it is based on a true story. That
Right.
These two ghost hunters bought the house from someone else, and there was supposedly disturbances there, and they had an exorcism there, and all this other stuff. But the owners of it, the current owners of it, say they had no problems until the film came out, and then since then they've been hounded constantly by people just turning up wanting to get photos or go.
Because until the film, nobody drew no attention. Yeah, well, I just think rather than an undisclosed sum, that's them trying to milk it. Just say to Warner Brothers, look, you've ruined our ability. Or even better, if they're clever about it, they put the house up on the market and say, I'd feature in this film. It would have a few more zeros on the price tag and pocket it.
Now, after seeing this story, the reason I put it on was because it was Halloween the other night, and near Leeds or Wakefield or whatever, there is a haunted house which was featured in Most Haunted.
Right.
You can actually book it out, and I thought, would it be cool if we booked it out for a night and did a podcast, stay the night there and podcast it?
And you'll shit his pants.
Oh yeah, like you're Mr. Fucking Hard.
So people who've been there say they couldn't. Not many people manage to last the whole night. They get so scared.
Yeah, but they talk themselves into scaring themselves, don't they? I used to hang out in graveyards when I was a kid, so it's normal. I used to dig graves
for a reason. Oh, you were digging graves.
Well, I had a job digging graves, didn't I? So
yeah. So I was thinking that'd be cool to do a podcast from there, from this supposedly very haunted house, where there's a ghost can drag you up the stairs and do all this stuff to you.
Really, like a real ghost.
Well, it depends if you believe in ghosts or not.
Yeah, I'd be like...
I'm very, very sceptical.
Drag me up the stairs. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
I'd be well impressed if a ghost could, or anything could drag you up the stairs, to be honest. But yeah, I thought we could look into that, and that'd be cool to do a special podcast from there, stay the night, record every so often, and see how we get on.
I think it will come to a quick end, because Andy will...
Oh, you've Becky got it in for Cook
I
tonight.
know,
You'll be out the door.
Who do you think you are? You're the macho man or something.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking about doing that. We can
You'll
look
just
into
call your
that.
debt collector friend if you get in trouble.
You
Yeah.
could
I'm
help me,
scared,
please.
will you help me?
Right, the next one is, I showed the chaps this before the show started, this thing called The Void. This is a new type of virtual reality entertainment. What it does is it's basically putting VR in a space where you can actually walk around at a space which is both in the virtual reality and in real life.
It's a bit like the holodeck on Star Trek.
That's exactly the intention, as I said at the beginning. What it does is, so you'll go into this place. The location you play in will basically fit the same dimensions of the virtual reality game you are playing. You'll be wearing a 180-degree helmet, which has got 180-degree view in it, computer screens. It also gives you some kind of peripheral vision, which I say is really important if you're doing like team-based games. There's a vest that you wear with 5 haptic feedback motors, which replicate the feel of being shot.
Wow.
Not accurately, that'd be absolutely horrible, wouldn't it? If that was true, I would just shoot you in the ass over and over again. And then we'd go and play the game.
You're used to that sensation, aren't you, Rob?
The claws are out tonight, aren't they? Or being near an explosion. Say in the game someone throws a grenade, you will feel the force blast from the explosion. The gloves also come with haptic motors that you feel when you touch or interact with in-game objects. As I said already, the VR world will match a built stage where the actions take place. They want it to eventually be like a cinema, where you go along and you can pay for you and your mates to go in for 30 minutes or so and play a game. So far, they've developed a sci-fi shooting game, a Mayan ruin type puzzle-based, trap game, and a haunted house-based game as well. So, what did you think of it, Andy? We'll start with you.
Yeah, like I say, it looks good, but there's the reality to what they're putting across, because we've been there before, haven't we, with the whole headsets, and it's going to be super awesome. I just think it'll get to it, just like being able to make everything coordinate in sort of one game is going to be quite difficult. Maybe they've cracked it, but I just think like they're really selling it as something super cool, and it probably might not be. And then, like Rob said, there might probably be a few incidents where people probably hit their friends.
Yeah, that was it. Where you're running around, and particularly when if you ran into the corner of a wall or you jumped out the way or something.
Yeah, it's like you're given sabers. So I don't think that the engineering is an issue now, because we do have sensors small enough and powerful enough in order to achieve what they want to achieve. That's not going to be the issue. It's just you're running around with a virtual scimitar or saber or something, and it is actually still that shape, because it has to be in order for for it to work.
It's got to be some kind of soft rubberized material.
It probably will be, but do you remember that fight we had with lightsabers back at university in the basement of
Cool Kids?
He was on my course. I was good mates with him.
Who had a fight?
Ashworth basement. So in the basement of Ashworth's house, we had that lightsaber fight. And the lights were off. Well, the lightsabers were glowing in the dark. Couldn't see where we were going. We were just beating the crap out of each other. Lights came on. Everybody's lightsaber was bent, and the whole place had been turned over. The thing is, this could happen here because you can't. Because it isn't. You could end up just mashing your friends up without realising.
Well, I think if it was done properly, you would know you were hitting them. Because your object would exist in your hand and also in the game. And if you hit your friend with it, they're going to feel you hitting it, and they'll be like, piss off.
They might actually smack you with their fists, which isn't haptic feedback. That's proper fist.
But you get a little bit of haptic feedback as well. So it'd be like you get punched in the face, and then seconds later, it'd be like.
No, I mean, if they pull this off, I think it will be very, very cool.
Yeah, the jury's still out at the moment, isn't it?
Well, they built a 30. I think it's 30 foot by 30 foot test one, which some reviewers have been and seen. I like the sound of it.
I mean, they could potentially. There's nothing to stop them from if it was a multi-level game. You could have this void that you're running around in, which they've overlaid stuff onto, and then they could effectively reset it for the next level. And they could have it be like a glorified bowling alley where they drop, they just drop everything into place and lift it out and move it around, and the actual environment itself could change around you as you're running through it.
Imagine if you got trapped though under something and squashed.
Well, that's the risk you take.
What about if the whole thing was, like those things where you push your face into and they got all the little pins? Yeah. The whole thing was like
those
that.
executive toys, desk toys.
Yeah, and then they could actually move up and you could run on them. And so if you were going to fall, it could, things within the game could actually catch you and bring you down safely.
Yeah, I mean, the engineering in building a glorified...
a bit exciting though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be hard though. I mean, all the stuff with haptic feedback, motors, sensors, heat, air and all this kind of stuff, that's doable. That's fine.
Yeah, so would you want to have a go on it then, Raul?
I'd have a go, but whether I'd be, thing is, I find all this VR stuff I don't like, stuff being all over my face anyway, so...
I find that hard to believe.
And it's like the whole Oculus Rift. I always throw up whenever I wear an Oculus Rift.
But on this one, you'd actually physically be moving around, so you'd exist within that.
Yeah, I know, but it's just the fact that the what's in front of you isn't actually real. I suppose you would, after a short while, adjust and become consumed by it and think that it is real. I mean, then you've got all kinds of... If Jamesy was here, he'd be going about matter and it is what we are here.
Catface was going to come tonight, but he felt a bit poorly today, and so he's had to dodge out because he's a big wimp.
But he'd be going on about how this what we're in now might not actually be real, and therefore if you're putting that mask.
We're living in the Matrix anyway.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it'd be all some kind of bullshit to do with that. And you put one of those masks on, and why would that? With all the sensors, you could potentially be consumed by it, and why would it be any different to this?
Well, we know what he thinks then.
Yeah. I don't think he'd come up with such a clever argument, to be honest. So, and then the next story I want to talk about then, so I'm looking forward to The Void, you're not sure yet, is on a few shows now we've been talking about the possibility of new Star Trek, and we've said some things that sound like it's reasonable than other ones, and then we've found out a bit later on that it's possibly not. Well, CBS have announced today that there actually is going to be a new Star Trek TV series in 2017. Yes!
Oh, wow.
So this was actually announced today, but by the time I get this put up, it'll be about 4 days from now. I'll try and get it up as soon as possible. So what it's going to be is, it's not going to feature the film characters in it. It's going to be a whole new series from the sound of it. So it's going to be new characters seeking imaginative new worlds and new civilizations, and it's a complete development of Star Trek.
So this will this be almost like a reboot, or completely separate from the film universe, or?
This is going to be, I'm going to guess, it's going to probably be within the film universe, but nothing to do with the film.
Because obviously the current films are effectively a reboot. Effectively,
yeah.
They're sort of not, because they recognise the existing.
Yeah, with Spock coming across.
Yeah, and the whole parallel universe stuff, but I'm just trying to think how they're going to go with it, because we obviously had Deep Space Nine and Next Generation and all those
Voyager,
and what was the
Enterprise?
Yeah.
Been a long
So
road.
it'll be interesting to see where they take it.
They've not said much about it, but they have said though that it's going to be distributed concurrently for television and multiple platforms around the world by CBS Studios Internationals. It's going to be helmed by Mr. Where's his name on my little listing thing? Oh, bloody hell, I've got to miss his name now. Isn't it weird when you're trying to scan something when you've already read it and then you miss it? Alex Kurtzman. He's going to be working as executive producer for it. He co-wrote and produced Star Trek, the first reboot film that they did, and Star Trek Into Darkness. So he is well suited to this. I think it will exist within the universe of the films, but it's not going to have anything to do with the films at all. It may be set after those films, maybe set at the same time. Who knows?
But it might have the same look and feel.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
You can't really reboot the whole thing again after the films, because that screws up any later films that come out.
But also, I thought the reboots of the films were the new films were very successful, perhaps more successful than the earlier Star Trek films. I think in part because...
I don't know about that, we have to look into that.
Well, I think in terms of like the plot and script development, so
Oh, are they better filmed?
Yeah,
they're
better filmed,
yeah. Apart from Wrath of Khan, which is amazing. I love Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, everyone loves
Khan! So I am really excited to hear that Star Trek definitely coming back on the TV screens, and I think it's cool. The fact they've got a whole rebooted universe, they can do anything they want.
Yeah.
If they choose to base it within it.
And Star Trek, interestingly enough, has always been pretty accurate. Like there's a lot of debate at the moment now about.
Well, no, I hang around with a lot of Klingons. So, you ever had any problem with Klingons, Rob? Or do you use a nice thick ply toilet paper? So, now, the next thing I want to do is it's Ultimo Geek, but it's going to be a little bit different today, ladies and gents, because I'm adding a chance of randomness into this. I have written 3 different quizzes.
Pressure.
One of the quizzes suits Andy, one of the quizzes suits Raul, and one of them is a general geekery one. And I've got this random name selector, and I'm going to spin it now, and we're going to see whose quiz we get to do this week. So you ready for this?
Andy's quiz questions are all going to be about how you can bamboozle girls into bed.
That's not me. I think that's you, really, Rob.
No, Andy's ones would be have a few drinkies, get a bit frisky on the old texty, and then ignore them the following day. So I'm going to spin it now. So you'll be able to hear the sound of it, ladies and gents. So on the board we've got Rob, Andy, General Geekery. Who's going to be chosen this week? That sound. And the winner is...
Andy.
It's Andy! We're going to be doing Andy's quiz. So let me just remove this from there. So this week, the quiz will be on... Let me just get the quiz up now.
Oh God, I don't even
Hairspray.
remember this. I haven't read this in about 5 years.
Hairspray?
It's not initial D, is it?
Wait and see, and you'll see what the quiz
I know
is.
nothing about initial D.
Let me just get the correct bit up. Right, this is the... I'll show you the front screen for the quiz. That's the... this is on Initial D, first stage.
Right.
I'm not putting it on the screen because I want to have the answers next to it so I can give you the answers straight away. And it may surprise you that I'm not an expert on Initial D. So Initial D is a comic book series, but also an animated series and some live-action films as well, isn't it?
Got a film based on it as well.
So this is first stage. So this is the first season of Initial D.
I'm doomed.
So let me just set this all up. So play along at home, ladies and gents. I don't know if you are Initial D fans.
I may as well go home now, but I'm a good sport, so I'll stick around for this defeat.
You might win.
How? I know nothing about it.
I haven't read it in a long time, Rob.
Question number 1. Who drives the AE-86 Torino?
Yeah, Sprinter Torino.
Is it 1. Kaizu Takashi, 2. Takumi Fujiwara, 3. Ryosuke Takashi, or 4. This is hard going. Meiko Sato. So number 1, Kaizuke. Number 2, Takumi. Number 3, Ryosuke. Or number 4, Meiko. I've got your answer. What are you going with? And the answer is... Andy's correct. It's Takumi. 1-0 to Andy. Next one.
I'll even play this.
Who was the first driver the 86 driver raced? Was it Kaizuke, Meiko? You put your hand down already. Takeshi or Kenta? So 1.
What was it?
So who was the first driver the 86 driver raced? I don't understand what that is.
Yeah.
So was it Kaizuke, Meiko, Takeshi or Kenta? So 1 Kaizuke, 2 Meiko, 3 Takeshi, 4 Kenta. So I've got your answer.
I was gonna...
So is it Kaizuke, Meiko, Takeshi, Kenta?
I don't know actually on that one. First one he raced.
Who was the first driver the 86 driver race?
Just do what I do and randomly pick one.
So Kaizuke, Meiko, which one are you going for? Kaizuke, Meiko, Takeshi, Kenta.
Oh, it was a...
Can't you lose a point for time wasting?
I don't know.
Who are you going for? You're going for Kaizuke, you're correct. 2-0 to Andy. Well done.
I thought I had a different name to that.
Question number 3. What was so hard about the 86 driver's race against the Civic?
Civic, that's later on, that is, but I know which.
Was it, 1 hand was taped to the steering wheel, 2, it was rainy and the road was slippery, 3, the drivers were blindfolded, or 4, they went uphill? So you think the drivers were blindfolded?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? And you're going for 1, and it was 1 hand taped to the steering wheel. It's 3-0 to Andy so far.
Deathmatch.
So it's called a duct tape deathmatch.
Duct tape deathmatch. That's amazing. Next week we're going to have a duct tape deathmatch version.
We'll drive through
One
hiking
hand
with one
tape
hand.
to the steering wheel, that's not a problem, is it?
Yeah, because you can only get a certain range of movement.
How do you change gear? Oh, the automatics, I don't know.
The manual.
They drive on the left in Japan, so...
Right, next question. This is a true or false one. Kaizook and Ryosuke are twins. True or false?
True.
What do you reckon?
True.
False. They
What?
are not twins. They're not exactly the same age.
Oh, they're brothers, aren't they?
Yeah, they're brothers.
Oh,
But still 3-0 in the lead.
Clearly, yeah.
What is the name of Mako's navigator? Is it 1. Kenji, 2. Sayuki, 3. Kenta, or 4. Takeshi?
Takeshi.
So, the name of Mako's navigator, Kenji, Sayuki, Kenta, or Takeshi?
I don't actually know this one.
I'm going to go with Takeshi, number 4.
Right, what are you going with?
I was just going to say, I don't actually know that one.
It's Sayuki. So,
I can't
hard
remember
cheddar.
that. Are you sure it's the first book?
Well, I don't know.
Carry on.
What is Akina's racing team called?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Night Kids?
Who's Akina? Is this some...
Akina.
I bought a sticker once from a car with that on it. I never put it on.
Was it You Are So Gay? Is it 1. Night Kids, 2. Project D? That's what you call your nights out, don't you? Project D. 3. Red Suns, or 4. Speed Stars? So 1. Night Kids, 2. Project D, 3. Red Suns, or 4. Speed Stars?
Project D.
What are you going with? You're going with Speed Stars, Andy? You are quite correct as well. So that is 4-0.
You need to read some more initial D, Rob.
I have my ass handed to me on a plate.
Who did the 86 race against in the rain? Was it Kenta, Takeshi Nakasato, Shoji Shingo, or Ikitani?
I don't actually know. I can't remember
Shogi
the
Shingo. I'm going to go with Shogi Shingo.
So, who did the 86 race against in the rain? 1. Kenta, 2. Takeshi Nakasato, 3. Shoji Shingo, or 4. Ikitani?
I don't actually know this one, but...
What are you going to guess? You're going to guess with...
that.
What did you go again? Show me.
4.
It was Kenta who he raced against.
I don't think that was in the first book, though.
Did Itsuki get in an accident? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did indeed. So
Shit.
that's 1 point to you. And you've got 5 or 6. You're winning. You're going to win this one.
Yeah, there's no questions.
What car does Ryosuke drive?
A Porsche Chimera.
Is it...
There's no such thing.
Could you name this without me even giving the...
Yeah.
Right, I'll ask you. I'll ask you. So, is it the RX-7 FC, the AE86 Torino, or is it the RX-7 FD, or the SIL 80?
RX-7FD.
Well done. You're correct. It is.
That's true.
Oh no! Wait a minute. No, it's not. No, it's the RX-7 FC.
Ah,
Yeah.
the FC. Ah.
You thought it was FD as well, so no points for you on that one.
Yeah, I thought it was the FD3S.
What colour is... You are a geeky bastard.
That's good though, because we're Empire of Geek.
No, this is about as geeky as I get, so...
What colour is the Red Sun's FD? Is it red, yellow, blue, or black?
Black.
So
Yellow.
red, yellow, blue, or black.
Black.
And you reckon it's yellow?
Yeah.
You are correct. It is yellow. So with a resounding victory this week, Andy, you
back on top!
which means next week
We have to do Amigas.
we've got a choice between the General or the Amiga one. Put it this way, the Amiga one is fecking impossible.
Thing is,
I'm never
he
gonna-
now knows that there's going to be an Amiga one, so he's going to be burning it on Amigas.
And I cracked under pressure.
I don't think I'm going to be reading up on Amigas, Rob.
Would it be fair then
I've got other things to do,
Let me see. So, how many did you get right on that one, Andy? You got one.
Like all of them.
I got like 2 or 3 wrong.
You got two. You got 2 wrong, and the rest you got
3,
right.
4, 5. You got about. I think you got 3 wrong.
It was impressive.
So you got 7. We'll say you got 7 out of 10, and Rob got 1 right.
By pure luck.
Why don't we play the Amiga one now, and you've got to basically get more than 7 right.
Rob will just ace the Amiga one.
But if you can get more than 2 right...
Yeah, but I don't know anything about...
Oh, it cuts both ways, Andy. Would that be fair, Rob, if we did that?
No, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
I've got the Amiga quiz ready.
I want to leave it because I want to bone up again myself. Because I want to
Well, against me?
I want to absolutely destroy you. Because I don't like just to win. I like to dominate.
Do you even want to see the little... let me see the first slide for it. I've got a picture of an Amiga there ready for it.
That's an Amiga 500 with the... wow, that's running Workbench 1.3.
I think he's going to win next week.
How do you get into that?
Well, you got a chance to revise for
How
it now.
How can you get into,
Because cars are exciting.
Come on, that was...
Computers
Right,
don't do
1985, this machine came out of nowhere, left everything out for dust.
A bit like the Speed Stars.
Yeah. A Makina.
Oh, I love it.
Do you want to meet sometime, Robin? We'll race the downhill. You and your Punto and me and my Civic.
Oh man, I so want to. I can't wait to make loads of money so I can buy a nice car again. And then we'll have drag races for pink slips as they do in America. But we'll have to do it on a track because I don't want to run anyone over.
Can't you just do it nearby? Every American film, they live near some kind of... Is this some kind of river or big drainage river type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those like in LA, they've got those big...
Johnny's racing for pink slips tonight, boys.
We could get like an Xbox and do it virtually.
What, and then whoever wins gets the other person's car?
Yeah.
I've just lost my car. And I've got a £300 Punto.
Why would anyone do that? So, on to Comic of the Week, and this week we are looking at a comic that was only recently been launched. It was launched at Nottingham Comic Con, and it's called Brethren Born, and it's by John Laight. I'm sure I've said that wrong. I'll spell his name out. L-A-I-G-H-T. Light. Maybe light. Light. He's the writer of it, and then Philip Nibbs, who's the artist. This is by Level 8 Comics. If you want to find out a bit more about them, you can go to www.level8comics.com or www.brethrenborn, all one word, .com, or even check them out on Twitter at brethrenborn. So this comic is the first of what's going to be a series telling a story. The first one gives you lots and lots of little kind of hints about what's going to happen and what's gone on. So if I was going to summarise it for you, it would be this. It seems that some form of alien has crash landed on the planet back in the 1960s, and that the government, I'm assuming a lot of this, but it doesn't tell you actually at the moment in the story, but it gives you all the hints, which is that's what a good story always does. It gives you enough for your imagination to start kind of making stuff up. So some of this is what I think's happening. So alien crash lands on the planet. A government secret project involving a group of young boys seemingly gives them either DNA or genetic matter or whatever from the alien and creates these test subjects. The story begins with the government, this general, pulling the funding on this project and ordering the death of these boys who've seemingly been given some kind of alien powers. The main character, Newton, is a small boy. He is warned by a friendly scientist and he manages to escape the facility. You don't know if his brothers did or not. Anyway, it cuts to the present day and an armed robbery is foiled by a hooded figure with superpowers. He can seemingly either fly or jump very high, super strength, and it becomes clear that this is most likely Newton, the small boy who escaped. The story finishes off this first issue with Newton looking at a photo of the general who ordered the death of all of his brothers. So it sets the scene. This first story does. I found it really enjoyable. I like stories where they give you enough so you can tell the story, but they leave enough room for you to kind of start creating your own possible narratives for it. That's what hooked you in. What's going to happen next? What do I think is going to happen? The artwork behind it, done by Mr. Nibs, is good. I like it. There seems to be a slightly muted palette, but I love that. I don't like it. It's not too bright. Sometimes when you see kind of first time comics by people, they go insane on all the colours. This looks good. His art style is great use of line, the characters look good, he's got his own kind of unique look to his work, so it's well worth checking out. Yeah, very, very enjoyable. So that's Brethren Born. Have a look at it. I met one of the guys connected to it at Nottingham Comic Con. Seemed like a real great guy, so well worth a read if you want to get that. It's out now. You can get a variant cover, which costs a little bit more if you buy it, and that's by Hal Larron, the variant cover. Seems like could be a very exciting kind of comic book series to get involved with, and if you want to get on it from the beginning, then now's the time. And that finally leads us on to the con of the week, and my word, this is a biggie. This is Thought Bubble, which for me is possibly one of the great British comic book conventions. And so I said comic book there, it's all about the artwork. This is in Leeds. It's the 9th to the 15th of November. It actually starts off with lots of little kind of community events and things going on. The main part of it, if you want to visit it, is on the following Saturday. So on the 14th and the 15th, if you want to. There's loads and loads of people there. If you go to the website, which is thoughtbubblefestival.com, you can meet special guests like Noel Stevenson, who's an American comic book artist, and Rick Remender, Farrell. Why do all of the comic book people have such complicated second names for me to pronounce? There's a bunch. I'm not even going to try anymore. Kate Leth, she's going to be there as well. She's got an easy name to say. So there's a ton of comic book people. There's a ton of creators there. If you like the idea of Comic Cons being about the comic art, the writers and the creators, well worth going to. There's the British Comic Awards are also announced there. So definitely, if you're into comic books, Thought Bubble is the place to go. They also produce an anthology comic, which has got some of the best talent in the British comic book industry, and also the competition winners in there. I say this because I managed to get some stuff in there a few years ago. I won a competition there. So check out that anthology if you want to see some great British comic book people. Fortunately, I'm not in it this year. I didn't enter anything. But if you want to go back a few years and check it out, then you'll find my one, Dad's Ear, quality comic strip. So that is our con of the week, Thought Bubble. Have a look on the internet. There's too much to talk about. There's loads of guests. It is a great comic book convention. One of my favourites, next to the Kendall one, which we spoke about. And in fact, they've announced a new date for Kendall Comic Con, which we'll check out yourself, or we'll tell you about in a future podcast. So, Comic of the Week, another shout out again, Brethren Born. Check them out on Twitter or on their website, same name, Brethren Born. And Thought Bubble is our convention of the week, and it's next weekend if you're listening to it now on Saturday. If you're not, it's a different time. Work it out for yourself. Brilliant. So there we go. That was the comic of the week and the convention of the week. They sound interesting, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Really do.
Yeah, go along to them. So anyway, that's the end of the show this week. So it's goodbye from me, Steve. Goodbye. Goodbye from you, Raul.
Goodbye, Steve.
And goodbye from you, Andy.
Goodbye.
The reigning, defending Ultimo Geek champion.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Like, honestly, obviously, you're a complete expert there. You know, you absolutely annihilated me there. Fair dues. You really know your initial.
Rob,
beat.
just can you wait a second? Just reading up on Amigas. Right. Great. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just want to say the Amiga one is so hard. It's unbelievable. So if anyone at home, if you want to come along,
can we have some ones like what is an Amiga like? A computer, B a fax machine, C
a way of life, brother.
It is a way of life. It was like religion.
out on that open highway with my Amiga.
Yeah. Back in all the I was fighting people all the Atari kids, all the Atari and PC kids. I still kept my Amiga flame glowing.
Certainly didn't blow.
Long after I should have extinguished it. But even now, I just have a certain feeling that I just cannot
deep
let
in
go.
your voice.
Yeah, deep in my soul that I cannot ignore that computer and the effect it had on my life.
This is what you say on first dates.
Yeah, it is. It actually is. I've seen him try and chat girls up, going, "Have you got an Amiga, dude?"
What, he said that?
Yeah. When we first went to university, he'd go up to girls and ask them if they had an Amiga.
Well, you know,
how often did they say
my
that?
theory was you've got to find a girl who's into the same things as you are.
Still looking.
Good fucking luck.
Oh.
Anyway, goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
That was ghastly.
That was ghastly.